Hello, everyone. Just getting a little bit nervous and nauseous talking about it, but in 2 days' time, I'll be running my first ever marathon. And ever since I was a very little boy, I've always thought marathons are these really cool things that really cool people finish. I thought I could never be one of those people. I've always been just a bit overweight, interested in sports, but not good enough to excel in it. And I'm not saying I'm excelling in it now, but a lot of decisions from about 2-3 years ago have led up to this moment. And in 2 days' time, if all goes well, I will finish my first ever marathon. But let's talk about that little journey for now and then see where this takes us. My personal story with running probably began about, I want to say 15 years ago, when I was in year 12, sixth form, and just trying to be a little bit fitter at a time. Around that time, I would wake up before school. My mum bought me a pair of running shoes and off I went. It was only a 3 kilometer route, but I did that. I continued doing it, and in my first year of university, I didn't make a lot of friends, and I didn't have a lot of contact time in university. So once again, I lived on a campus that had a nice little lake. Those of you who know, every day I would just do, it was about a 3.5-4 kilometer loop, and I was in really good shape at the time, probably best shape in my life up to that point. And then, I made friends in second year, and that sort of stopped. Fast forward to maybe about 2018, 2019, I realized I needed to work on my fitness. So at that time, the cool thing to do, and I guess that's what everyone else was doing at the time, was to go to gym. And I did that. I wouldn't say religiously, but I did that quite regularly. And once again, I picked up a little bit of fitness here and there. Didn't quite enjoy it, but the routine really got me going. And then COVID happened. And then I never picked up those habits again. And then I moved to Bristol. When I moved to Bristol, a lot of my routine sort of fell into the wayside and I just didn't have good habits. So I gained a lot of weight. I became rather unhealthy until about 3 years ago. 1 year into my time in Bristol, and work started to pay for these yearly health assessment. It doesn't do a lot, but it just overall headline health checks. And at that time I was borderline obese. I was pre-diabetic. Almost on the verge of having high blood pressure. Just lots of health issues that were starting to crop up. Knew I had to do something. So I started picking up running again. Picked up a pair of running shoes on discount. Start running and then start cycling. And then, as you may have heard, when I was on the cusp of not really enjoying it again, my friend Phil indirectly inspired me to really start counting calories. And that supercharged my running. And that was about 2 years ago. I really found my pace, pun intended, with running. And I started signing up to 10Ks, half marathons. And almost straight after my Cardiff half marathon, I jokingly signed up to join the ballot for both Manchester and London marathon. Didn't think I was going to get in. Didn't get into London. And then in the middle of a Costco run, with very little signal, I got the message to say I got into Manchester. I had to make a snap decision because those places were running out very quickly, and I signed up to it. And I suppose one of those things where once I sign up to something, I try my best to do my best. And there has been hiccups along the way, but from after Christmas onwards, it has almost been my singular focus. As singular as it can be for someone who has a job, who has a life, who's not a professional athlete, who has a career to try to curate and improve on. Pretty much from December onwards, a lot of my free time has been put towards thinking and training for this marathon. And you would have heard, I've been ramping up over this time. I've ramped up to 100 kilometers a week. While I originally intended to stay there for 3 weeks, hiccups along the way. I got slightly injured. I had a cold. Out of all my training, there were 2 weeks that were severely under target, but here I am. I've hit my training goals, bar 2 weeks. I think I'm as ready as I can be in this version of who I am to go for this marathon and try to achieve something that I didn't even think was remotely possible 18 months ago. So let's have a little look back into my training. Before I went into this marathon training, this plan that I made for myself, this compressed plan that I made for myself, I was averaging about 40 to 50 kilometers a week. And then I ramped up to 65 the week after, and then to 72 and a half kilometers, and then 80 weeks a week after, 90 weeks a week after. And then you've heard about my Cornish week where I hit 100K. It was an achievement. It was an achievement. But what I felt to account for myself was that while I was Cornwall, the elevation or the climbing that I had to do was about 5 times, 6 times as much as I would normally do. And so the week after, I had cramps and aches where I didn't expect. So that week fell off to a pretty pathetic 20-ish K. And then the week after, I managed to climb back up to about 95 kilometers. And then that was when I was meant to taper. And then I was hit with a cold where I could barely breathe. So I took a week off. I think I hit about 15K that week. And then I tried to properly hit the taper. So last week, I did 60-ish kilometers. And then this week, up to this point, I've done 25. A shorter interval session on Monday, just a standard 10K yesterday. And then today, a little tempo threshold where it was 6.5 kilometers overall, 4 times 1 kilometer, a very comfortable, slightly under threshold pace of 440 per kilometer. And really, I've set myself a few goals for this marathon. Most people would say set up a aspirational goal, achievable goal, and a safety goal. My 3 goals would be goal A being 3.5, goal B being 3:45, and goal C being a sub 4. And this is where I'm at 2 days before my marathon. And I've read a lot about Maranoia, especially the 2 days of stillness before your first ever marathon. Even seasoned marathon runners will tell you that, but I didn't really know what to expect coming into it. And I've been, not that I've had bad sleep, but I've had shortened sleep. I've been having very nauseous and nervous thoughts, thinking, going between, I'm going to ace this or I'm going to be stuffed. And so that was a really timely reminder for me to remind myself of positive thoughts. I've been watching videos on the Manchester Marathon to try to visualize how my day is going to look like. I've rehearsed it and I've already laid out the things I'm going to have to bring so that when I pack for the rest of my trip, I don't have to worry about that. This week has been battling between thoughts of it's going to be really good, really enjoyable, and I'm completely stuffed. Positive reinforcements. But we're going to go pack. I'm going to go pack on my race day kit, and I'm going to show you what I'm bringing with me. So here we are. I've laid out my stuff that I think I'm going to need on the day off, and we're just going to pack into my bag. There's going to be everything I'm going to need for the day itself, and everything else will be in a separate bag. So I know I've compartmentalized everything into different bits, so I know what to take. I think on the day itself, I probably want to spend as little time thinking as I need to, because I want to spend all of my energy, all of my mental focus on the day itself, on the run itself, to strategize, to adapt. So yeah, everything I need for the race will be in this bag. Everything else will be in a separate bag. And I'm just going to walk you through what's in here. I have these. This is a foot massage ball and a resistant band. This is what I'm going to need to warm up. A hat, depending on how sunny it is, I'm going to wear this. Also very good at capturing most of your sweat, so you're not dripping salty water into your eyes. Safety pins, and your bib. Equally important. It's you don't want to be scrambling on race day itself trying to find safety pins. These are completely unnecessary, but I bought for a previous race these running sleeves in case. So I'm always going to be running in a tank top, but if it's going to be too cold, I'm going to have running sleeves that I can take off. And gloves that I can take off. These are very lightweight. They are Nike Pacer Liner. They are literally just a layer of lycra or neoprene. Also very good if you're having gel. You know that the gel, if it spills, it will just go into a glove right in your hand, so you don't have to be sticky throughout the whole time. I've got these socks. Every single long run I've done has been with these socks, so I know they will be comfortable. They will not cause any blisters or help prevent blisters. Race day underwear. My tank top that I'll be wearing right here. Plasters. Don't forget about plasters to prevent chafing. I've tested my race kit enough to know where chafing happens, so this will be there, useful to protect myself. My external heart rate monitor, I will be charging this before we go this is my racing tights. They're not the most quote-unquote elite version. These are more, I think, for their Nike's training range, but it's got 3 pockets, and I've tested it. It will fit my phone and all the gels I'll need on the day. I've tested that twice on a long run now, the amount that I plan to bring. Yes, as you can tell, I wear glasses. So on the day I won't be wearing glasses, I have contact lens. If it's going to be sunny, I'll have my sunglasses with me. They're also my cycling sunglasses, but I love these bigger wraparound ones. I know it's running fashion in the moment, but it makes me feel like a superhero. And if I feel just 5% better, I'm sure I'll run at least 5% better. It helps me focus, makes me feel like it's just me against the world. So yeah, these are my these are my racing shoes. Nike Vaporfly Nix% something. Long story short, they are Vaporfly 2s. They came out 4 years ago. Actually, my mum got them from me. When I first started running again, you know, I was this all the gear, no idea guy, as you can see. And I was only running less than 5k at the time, and everyone was talking about carbon shoes. And obviously I bought a pair. Not what they were intended for at the time, but I think now I can at least half justify them. And it kind of, to me, it feels like a full circle moment. Doing an actual marathon in carbon marathon racing shoes. So those are them. On to the things that I might eat. Pre-race drink, a serving of these. As the tin suggests, they are a carb and electrolyte mixed drink. I have a bottle of these to start off with before the race, early enough so that I can, you know, weed it out before the race itself. But every run I've done, maybe it's just placebo, but every run I've done, having had one of these at least, has made me feel better for longer. I'm going to take every bit of real or placebo help wherever I can. I normally run fasted. I know it's a bad idea, but I've always just preferred running with an empty stomach. I feel like there's less risk of a need for unplanned toilet trips. Over my previous long runs, I have tested different things that go in my stomach. You want things that will easily digest, they'll give you good energy, and the thing that I've ended up with is a cereal bar. My gels, these are expensive. I think in the future I might just make my own, but for my first ever, I'm just going to go with things that I've tested, I've trialed, and the main bulk of the gel will be these Precision for You 30-gram carb gels. Current strategy is 1 per 25 minutes, so it'll work out at about 70 grams of carb per hour. Also bringing caffeine gels. These are high 5 caffeine gels. I'm only going to take one. In previous events, I've done one before the race, but those are half marathons and 10Ks, just to give a little boost. This I've tested works best if I have one halfway through my race. And finally, this is a protein shake. I could easily make my own, but for the sake of convenience after the race, just for a little bit of recovery straight away, this is coming with me. And that's it. Everything's going to go into this On Speed pack. And the reason I got this used. I didn't buy it brand new. My cousin bought one, and it was very useful. It was a very elegant solution with a shoe pack outside the front. Normally shoe packs go in the bottom. I don't really like that. It also squishes the shoe. So the shoe is going to go on the outside, everything else on the inside, all ready for race day. And that's it. Am I cooked? No. It's going to go really well. I'm as prepared as I can be. I've done as much training as I was prepared for this time round. So we're just going to trust that. Trust the process. Love the grind. All that sort of stuff. All that sort of stuff. So anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoy watching it. I hope you've enjoyed this journey up to this marathon with me so far. In the next video you see me will be on a video about how it went. I hope you have a good day. Stay safe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.